Hi, this is Emily. I just want to say hello to everybody. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about how I'm doing and how I'm feeling. And it's been quite a ride uh, within the past few months and in my life as well, I must say. But I was thinking about what it's like to be in my shoes, trying to explain that to people, what it's like to feel different, to feel like you got this big secret and you can't tell anybody for most of your life. And, you know, people can't grasp things they don't understand or feel, you know? So it's very hard to explain to people what it's like to be transgender like I am, you know? Like, I'll use an example that we can't really relate to, but we are aware of it. What is it like for a family makes virtually no income? They live in a country that's filled with poverty. The kids they bring into the world die very young of starvation and hunger, and they struggle just to survive daily. You can't relate to that. I can't relate to that. But for many people, that's their reality. And that's far more severe than what my reality is. But I'm trying to use an example where we don't relate to that. And we're lucky we don't have those worries of starving, of living in famine and poverty. But those poor people struggle just to live every single day, just to get food on the table, if they even have a place to live. So my situation is nothing compared to that. But in my case, nobody knows really, unless you're transgender like I am, what it's like to feel trapped in the wrong body. Nobody. Only someone who's transgender would understand where I'm coming from. I've always felt like a girl every day of my life, basically, since I was a 3 year old little boy, jealous of my little baby sister when my mom would dress her up. And then as they got older, it just got worse for me when my two sisters were being dressed up for holidays, and here I was so depressed and down because I had to wear something that I didn't want to wear. But I couldn't tell anybody. I had to live and accept it. And that was hard. And that was something I've dealt with from being a 3 year old all the way through to today. And when you look at girls, they have this sense of maturity, they have this sense of kindness, compassion. They're very strong and very just they're just like wonderful people, you know. They're sensitive, they're caring, they're loving, they're empathetic, they nurture, they give birth. They are the strongest sex without question. And they're fun to look at, you know. They've got everything. They're smart, they're devoted, they're dedicated, they're everything that's good in this world. And guys are good too, don't get me wrong. Guys work hard, they provide for their families, they push themselves in school or wherever they feel most comfortable to thrive. There's nothing wrong with guys. But I, being born a guy, a male, a boy, didn't relate to my male counterparts. In fact, I didn't relate to my female counterparts. I didn't relate to anybody because I was different. I was unique. And I didn't know where I was going to wind up. All I knew was I did not feel comfortable in my skin, so to speak. It just didn't make sense to me why up here I felt like a girl, but down there I was a boy. It didn't make any sense. Why would I think like that? And I've done reading, just trying to understand what it was that I was going through. And I learned that when a woman is pregnant and hormones are, put developing in the womb, the baby, and then the hormone exposure, it's quite possible that I believe, in my case, that more female hormones were affecting my brain development than male hormones. So I truly believe that my brain developed as if I were a girl, though physically I was a boy. And that's been discussed very often in medical science. They try to figure out what makes someone like myself identify as female while I'm really born male. And there are so many people out there that you would be surprised that have the same feelings that I have. So, my surgery now is past a month, and it's approaching 5 weeks now. And I must say that I am very happy and pleased with the results of my surgery. I've been waiting since I was since I was a teenager, basically, when I used to want to dress and live and be a woman. I fantasized about it all the time. I wanted to wear bikinis on the beach. I wanted to go out to parties in a beautiful dress. I wanted to wear clothes that made me feel good, that I took pride in, and that I felt like I could wear and not be judged. But that wasn't the case, because I had to live a secret, and I couldn't tell anybody. It was the hardest thing that I had to live with, and I had to do it for essentially my whole life. I tried many times to come out, or at least send wave signals out to people that I am not what you think I am. But it never worked out for me. The time that I really made an attempt to come out was in my early 30s. My mom had already passed away, and I was living at home with my dad. And I decided, for me, since I was very shy, I wanted to come out to my sisters, both of them, and my best friend from college days. So I sent out Christmas cards to all three, my two sisters and my friend. And in the card, I wrote this little letter, exact letter for each, indicating that I felt I was a girl trapped in a boy's body, or a man's body. And I sent it out, and we talked a little bit, my sisters and I, and then my friend, but that was it. Nothing resulted from it. So I didn't really have the benefit of coming out because it just died right there. Nothing came about. So I sucked it up, and I just went on the way I was always as a guy, trying my best to make it as a guy. I started to go for therapy because I was still struggling with my mother's death, and I was struggling with my gender, and I was trying to help my dad, who had a drinking problem based on the stresses of his work in the ironworking business. So I was also trying to be a good support for my dad since he lost his wife, my mom. But it was difficult to see my dad struggle, and the only way he could avoid or anesthetize his pain was to drink. And it hurt. It hurt him, it hurt me, it hurt my sisters. My dad eventually had to go in for detox, and also for rehab. So it was tough, you know? And here I am, every chance I get, going off to the mall and buying female clothing, dresses, lingerie, panties, you name it. I had to have it. Anything that was feminine, that was what I wanted. I wanted to be as feminine as I could be, because I am a woman, a girl, a female, without question. In fact, I dress more nicer than my sisters. I'm not judging them, but I'm the girly girl of my family, reality-wise. My sisters don't wear dresses, only on occasion. I wear a dress every day of my life since I came out. And I wore dresses even when I didn't come out. I would conceal them underneath my male clothing. So if you want to get technical, I've been wearing dresses my whole life, basically, since I was a 3-year-old. So, 5 weeks after surgery, and I now have a body consistent to what I think of myself up here. Yes, I do. I have a vagina. Yay! Emily has her vagina. Woo! That is a good feeling. I'm not joking. I am very happy. Nobody can understand how happy I am. But I know, because I've lived it my whole life. I do admit it does take adjustment to get used to the vagina, and then you have to use these dilators to kind of make sure that the vagina is going to stay open and not close up. And my surgeon said that if I want to have sex, that I have to wait 6 months before I would have sex with a man. But I'm not. I'm married and I'm happy. Could be better, but I'm okay, you know? I didn't do it for sex. But I heard him out anyway, you know? But it is intriguing to now feel like, wow, there's a possibility that I could have sex with a man now. Wow. But that's not my reality. But it's quite unique to have that doctor telling me that, because it's true. I know. I have transgender women friends who've had the surgery and they have boyfriends. One is actually going to get married soon. Go figure, you know? And they had wives and they had kids. And now they're with men. That's not who I am. But I respect them. That's their choice. Fine, you know? Me? Sex is not really important to me. What's important to me is my family, my son, my wife, and being truthful to me. Emily. You know? I wear my dresses and I feel so beautiful and feminine and I'm happy. And now I am technically a woman because I have what women have anatomically. The inside you can't see, so obviously you don't know if I have a uterus. You don't know if I have ovaries. I don't. But how would you know? When I go out, people say miss, ma'am. They respect me as a female. In fact, they seem nicer to me. Nobody used to hold the door open for me when I walked into the mall. Now, somebody sees me 10 feet away, they hold the door open for me. You know? It's just different. I'm not complaining about it. In fact, I enjoy it. You know? I like when they call me miss. You know? Makes me feel good. Because that's what I am. I'm transgender. Transgender means your body is not what your mind thinks. So, I was a boy, but I always identified as a female, a girl. So, my desire to have surgery went back to when I was 15 or 16 years old. A long time. I finally had my surgery at 58. 42 years ago, I wanted to be a girl and have surgery. 42 years later, I have the surgery. I have the vagina now. I have my breast development. And I'm wearing the clothes that I've always wanted to wear. So I am happy. But reality, my son is struggling. I need to help my son. This is me. All right, I'm happy now. I am who I was always supposed to be. But that does not take away me being a father, a husband, a brother, a son. I am what I am. And I'm proud, and I should be proud. I'm tired of living in guilt, feeling that I'm crazy, because I'm not. In fact, I'm probably more sane than a lot of other people. At least I know what I was dealing with, and I identified it. It took me a long time to come to terms with it, but when I did, I knew what I had to do, you know? And I'll be honest with you, it is a lot of courage that someone like myself has to live with. It is not easy when you determine that you need to change. And when I say change, I mean change. It takes guts to come to terms with your being transgender. It takes guts to determine that you need to start doing hormone replacement therapy. So your body will now develop the way you felt it should have from the beginning. It takes guts to go to doctors and nurses that specialize in transgender medicine. It takes guts to be transgender and to immediately, after decades and decades, to finally realize that that is what you are. I am transgender and I'm okay. Now I gotta get my son to realize too that there's nothing wrong with being autistic. Sure, there are limitations, but if you come to terms with it and you can move on and go forward, so you can allow yourself to make the strides to go forward and make progress in your life. That's all I've wanted for my son, was to find something that he enjoys doing that's going to help him grow and learn as he grows into manhood. I had to do the same thing. And I was dealing with my own struggles too. So Matthew has autism and I was transgender, and I am. So the essence of living your life is trying to be happy, finding what it is that makes you happy. And I knew I did sports, I was a good student, I was not a good talker, I did not socialize much. When I went to nightclubs with my friends in younger days, I stood against the wall, I was the wallflower. I looked at all these beautiful women coming in, and all I could do was say, wow, those girls are gorgeous. But I couldn't talk to them. In fact, I was more concerned about if they found out what I was like, how that would influence me and them if we could talk and I could open up and say, gee, I wished I could look like you. But I never had the guts to do that. But when I saw them come in with their beautiful dresses and their shoes or boots, and they're ready to dance, I wanted to be just like them. I wanted to wear the same dresses they wore, but I couldn't. And it hurt me inside my heart, because I couldn't be true to who I was. And that really hurt. You know, you only get to live life one time. One time. And you need to live. You know? You need to live your life. There should be no shame. If you're transgender, you're transgender. If you're autistic, you're autistic. You know? That's what it is. You accept it. Takes time. Took me a whole lifetime to all of a sudden realize, no, I had to do what I had to do. You know? And I'm happy now. You know? I have my own struggles still. But at least I present myself the way I've always wanted to. The way I've always thought I should. You know? Guys don't wear dresses like this and feel happy and wear beautiful little sweaters that say Paris and wear the headbands. I used to wear hair bows, but my friend convinced me that I'm too old to wear hair bows. So she suggested, why don't you wear the hair like this? You know? The headbands. And I like it, actually. And I don't look like a little girl. I look like a mature woman, right? And I like to dress feminine. I love fashion. And I would love to be able to speak in front of large audiences and tell my story and let people know that there's nothing wrong with being transgender or autistic. And I struggle also with mental illness, depression, bipolar disorder, suicide ideation. I have a whole laundry list of things I struggle with. And gender dysphoria, but I checked that off the list because I am no longer dysphoric, because I'm happy now, because I am a woman from head to toe. And I'm proud of that. Took me a whole lifetime, but I'm happy, you know? And this is from hormones. I didn't do any surgery. Strictly hormones. This down here, surgery, obviously. But up here, just hormones. So, I'm happy. And I should be, right? And if there are people out there who need to talk, I suggest you look into support groups. If you identify the way I do, look for ways to get the help you need. It's essential. I know because I've lived it. Don't be ashamed to be who you truly are. If you want to have your mind mesh with what you have physically, and if you don't have physically what you know you should have up here, then you do what I do. Took me a long time to do it, but I did it. And I'm very happy that I did. And I have no shame anymore. Where once I did, I have no more shame. Because I shouldn't be shameful of who I am as a person. Right? I am proud of who I am. I'm Emily. T-Girl Angel. I'm the transgender girl who's an angel, right? So, and I'm very feminine. You want me to show you how feminine I am? Just look at me. Do you think guys wear dresses and cute little chemise with the headband? With long flowing blonde hair? If I didn't cut my hair, I would have had hair down to my shoulders by now. But I tried to detransition, and that's when things got all messed up again. And then I spoke to my doctors, and I said, I can't live like this anymore. I have to go back to Emily. And once I went back, no turning back. I knew that I had to have surgery. And I'm very happy I did. I admit dilating is kind of a bitch, but you have to do it, right? But I am very much more conscious about my hygiene. I'm more in tune with my body. And I'm very happy being a woman, complete, you know? So I think that we all have to live our lives and figure out what it is that makes us feel true to who we are. Obviously, we also have to focus on our life's journey, not just physically or sexually, but also in learning and growing and maturing, you know? And I want my son to find himself, to find his happiness, to find what it is that makes him happy and will allow him to grow and become successful in his life. I want my son to find himself, and I want him to be happy, you know? I mean, if I can do what I had to do to be happy, I want my son to find what makes him happy and also do what he's got to do. You know? We want to do the best we can for our children, and we also have to be true to who we are as people, you know? And I am so happy that I am a woman now. I had the surgery. I'm so happy. Yay, Emily! I did it! I finally did it. Took me a long time, but I did it. And it was my 6th attempt at the surgery. And it was almost canceled too, because of my liver. But the surgeon pushed for me to get the surgery, and we had to change hospitals. And when he got it successfully changed to the other hospital in Mount Sinai, I was able to have the surgery on 9/11 of this year, 2019. A difficult day based on what we know what happened in 2001, but surgery happened for me, and I'm very happy. And I feel more true to who I am as a person. So yes, I love being a woman. I always have. I love wearing women's lingerie and dresses because that's what I am. And I love being feminine because I am feminine. I'll always be feminine. And I'm living now 7 years as a woman, and now I finally have a vagina, and I'm happy. And that makes me feel true to who I am as a person. And that's all we could ever want, is to be happy. Because we're going to die. So before we die, we may as well try to enjoy our life, right? And there's no looking back. I am what I am, and I'm proud of it, because I am a transgender woman, a post-op transgender woman. Did you hear that, Emily? I am a post-op transgender woman, which means I've had the surgery. I had the surgery. So now I have what a woman has. I can't do what a woman does with hers, but cosmetically, and it's medically necessary. It's not cosmetic surgery. It's medically necessary surgery for a male to female transgender woman to have a vaginoplasty. And I'm very happy I have had that. And I'm glad that I'm alive and I'm living my truth as Emily. Now I must help my son as I've always been trying to do. But now that I've gotten my situation straight, now it's getting to help my son as best I can. Because I want him to have a life. I want him to be happy. I want him to find himself. And I want him to have peace in his life. So I'm going to leave at that. And I will be back. Because I feel I owe a duty to my friends who are transgender. And try to explain to people who aren't what it is like for us. So you could get a better understanding of who we are. And for my autistic son, and for people who struggle with depression and have attempted suicide. I've been there. I know. And I can help because I will share my experiences to try to help someone out there. Just like I want to try to help my son the best I can. So this is Emily of T-Girl Angels signing off. Bye. I always will and I always do love you guys. And thank you for being a part of my life. Bye.